So Bible verse for today, 2 Kings chapter 18, 1 to 8. I'll read it for you. In the third year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king of Israel, Hezekiah, son of Ahaz, king of Judah, began to reign. He was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Abi, the daughter of Zechariah. And he did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, according all that David his father had done. He removed the high places and broke the pillars, and then cut down the Asherah, and he broke in pieces the bronze serpent that Moses has made. But until those days, the people of Israel had made offering to it. It was called Nehushtan. He trusted in the Lord, the God of Israel, so that there was none like him among all the kings of Judah after him, nor among those who were before him. For he held fast to the Lord. He did not depart from following him, but kept the commandment that the Lord commanded Moses. And the Lord was with him. Wherever he went out, he prospered. He rebelled against the king of Assyria and would not serve him. He struck down the Philistines as far as Gaza and its territory, from watchtower to fortified city. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. So it's the second time we study Book of Kings. Again, the last Sunday we talked about Rehoboam. You remember who he was, right? There were three kings in the United Kingdom of Israel. First King Saul, second King David, third King Solomon, and these three kings reigned the whole United Kingdom of Israel. The fourth king of the United Kingdom, Rehoboam, son of Solomon, by his mistake, country divided into two. Maybe it was not his mistake; it was his father Solomon's fault. We checked it up last week, and country divided into two. And after that moment, it became northern Israel and southern Judah. And next to all the book of Kings, the 19 kings of northern Judah and 20 kings of northern Israel and 20 kings of southern Judah, we hear their story. And as you just read the story, it goes like this. Certain year of king of Israel, he reigned how long, but some king become a king of Judah, and certain year of that king of Judah, the certain king become Israel, and they were righteous or they were evil. These kinds of record keep going down through the book of Kings. You know that, right? And among these 39 kings, so except Saul, David, Solomon, among these 39 kings, 90 kings in the northern Israel and 20 kings of southern Judah, who was the greatest king among the 39? Answer is, as you see the screen, Hezekiah. Actually, there are two greatest kings, right? Who are there? Hezekiah and Josiah. And the Bible remember them, how great they are, what kinds of people they were. So the Hezekiah's, the evaluation, the record of Bible says in 2 Kings chapter 18:5, Hezekiah, trust in the Lord God of Israel, so that there was none like him among all the kings of Judah, and actually all the kings of Judah and Israel after him, nor among those who were before him. What does that mean? That means he was the best, right? Nobody was like him before him. Nobody was like him after him. So he was the most righteous king. Funny thing, Josiah has the same description. So I wonder, okay, Hezekiah was actually great-grandfather of Josiah. And after, no king before Hezekiah or after Hezekiah, nobody like him. But Josiah, no king before him and after him, nobody like him. Then who's better? We don't know. Mathematically, logically, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, Bible try to give credit to these two kings. They were best. No one like him. Only two of them the great. No one be comparable to him. They were so great. Okay? That's the Hezekiah and Josiah. What do you remember about Hezekiah? What is the big thing happened during the Hezekiah's life? Extended life. So the Hezekiah was sick, and then prophet Isaiah told Hezekiah that your lifespan is over. But Hezekiah prayed, wept bitterly before God, and God expanded his life for 15 years, which never happened to anybody in the Bible, right? David, Abraham, Moses, they all died on time when the lifespan is over. But Hezekiah is the only one his lifespan expanded because of prayer. That's the one big thing, big event about Hezekiah. What's the other thing you remember about Hezekiah? There was an empire, ancient empire, Assyria, which invaded northern Israel. And northern Israel actually destroyed by Assyria. It was time during Hezekiah. You know, when I went to seminary, the Bible 101 class, two number of the year every seminary student should remember. BC 722, BC 586. BC 722 is the year northern Israel fell, they were destroyed by Assyria. BC 586, it is the year the southern Judah destroyed by Babylon. So these are two important historical events. All seminary students who take the Bible class, they should remember. That BC 722, the time the northern Israel destroyed, in southern Judah, it was a time in Hezekiah. And actually, the Assyria's expansion, they were conquering all the countries, all the small countries, including northern Israel, and they continue marching to southern Judah. And southern Judah was a very small country comparing this big empire, but under the Hezekiah's reign, that they could successfully defend their country. That is one of the reasons we remember him as one of the greatest king. Okay? So these are the things happening in Hezekiah. But if his life is just like a successful king, righteous king, there's not much reason that we're going to talk about him. That's very complicated. Like our life is complicated, right? It's a lot of complicated things in his life, so that's what we're going to study. So again, that no one like Hezekiah, he was just so good, he was the best, and one of the credit he received was he kept the command of the Lord commanded Moses. I want you to remember this. What was the good thing about Bible? Remember, he kept the commandment that God gave him. Simply, he followed the Bible, right? He had the Torah, Moses' 5 books. He kept all the rules in Torah. So if any of you live according to the Bible, you followed all the Jesus and God's commandment in the Bible. That's Hezekiah's credit, that he lived with the word of God. And because he lived the word of God, we expect blessing. I love it, right? He expected the blessing. His life was described like this. The Lord was with him. Wherever he went out, he prospered. That's what he wants, right? Wherever we do, whoever we meet, we could give them blessing. Whatever business we offer, we receive blessing. Even when you go to Safeway, it's like a prosperity theology, something like that. I don't like it, but they say if you go Safeway, somebody just come out from the best spot, parking lot. You see that you are prosperous. Wherever you go, God bless you. And if you go to like some family trip, weather is perfect that day, so you have a best family vacation, and you go to like Hawaii, like the best deal for tourism, like all the good things happen in your life because you are righteous, you are full of a life of a blessing, you prosper wherever you go. That's what you want, and that's actually what Hezekiah received. So, as a king, he rebelled against the influence of Assyria. He made his country autonomous and independent. And he struck down the neighbors like Philistine, the arch enemy of Israel. He expanded the kingdom of Israel territory. So a lot of great achievement. That was good. Okay? That was a good part. But the better part, again, we heard, during his time, northern Israel was destroyed. You see the Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, came to the Samaria, and Samaria was destroyed when the 6th year of Hezekiah, Samaria was taken. And actually, everybody, including Hezekiah, would have been shocked and surprised because though the country divided into two, northern Israel, southern Judah, both of them, they are the descendants of Abraham. They are the people of God. And even if there could be difficult hardship throughout their history, there was a promise. I always keep your kingdom. I'll protect you. So they thought maybe God could rebuke them, God could train them, but they wouldn't be destroyed. That's what they were believing. But during Hezekiah's reign, northern Israel fell, completely gone. So Hezekiah would have been shaken. Wow, how could this thing happen to the people of God? But good news is, it's not like they were destroyed though they were loyal and then faithful to God, but they were destroyed because they were wrong, right? The scripture is very clear. Samaria was taken, the capital city of northern Israel, And why that happened? Because they did not obey the voice of the Lord their God, but transgressed his covenant. Even all the Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded, they neither listen nor obey. They deserve what they received what they deserve. The consequence of their sin, country was destroyed. If it's like that, it's a good news to Hezekiah because we already checked it up. Hezekiah was not like that. He kept all the command of the Moses, unlike northern Israel. So maybe Hezekiah could expect northern Israel, sorry, my people, you fell, but it was what you deserve. I'm different. I'm the good king. I follow the law of Moses, right? That could what Hezekiah could expect. But this expansion of Babylon continued, and it went to the Samaria, destroyed. It went to the Judah. Okay, and maybe when you went to the Judah again, we expect Hezekiah, whatever he do, he prospered, and God was with him. So we expect God give protection and God strengthened Hezekiah. So kingdom of Judah, they successfully defend their country from Assyria. That's the history we wanted to hear. But surprisingly, what happened was, in the 14th year of king of Hezekiah, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the fortified city of Judah and took them. So actually, they were not successful. It's like an alien invaded the United States. All the United States conquered except the DC. It's something like that. Jerusalem, where Hezekiah stays, still survived, but rest of the whole country already conquered, right? I mean, do you think Hezekiah have not prayed? Like, oh, the enemy is coming. No, messenger come. They are on the border. And Hezekiah prayed, oh, God be with that city, let the city successfully defend the country. But the messenger come, oh, king, the city is conquered. Next city conquered. I mean, maybe Russia and Ukraine war, right? Maybe Ukraine survived like what, 3/4 of the territory. But if you see the world, all except the one city where the president is, all part of the country conquered by Russia, maybe other country. What do you think? Oh, war is over. They just merely survived only one city. That was Hezekiah's situation. Country were already conquered except one city, Jerusalem. Now Jerusalem is surrounded. The problem of our life, we won't be like Hezekiah. We won't be righteous. We want to live before God faithfully. And then we expect a blessing. But just to stream, I mean, what happened in this world happened to everybody, whether they are Christian or not. The car accident, disease, any oppression or abuse. It's not like the all bad things, the avoid the Christians, only the giving the harm to the non-Christian or bad Christian. It's not like that. It comes to everybody, right? During the week, I got a phone call, 10 a.m. from Justin's school. Hey, parents. If you get a phone call from your children's school 10 a.m., what do you expect? Usually two of them, your son's not in the school, absence issue, or they're sick, right? So 10 a.m. I got a phone call. When I see the caller ID that it's the middle school, I was nervous and I picked it up. They said, your son got accident. He hit the locker room very hard, so he's not good, so you should come to pick him up. When I heard this the first time, your parents, my heart started pounding, and I was like, oh man, I missed to pray for him this morning. I usually pray, I shared it many times. Since my children were born, 2 prayer requests I always give. God, let them meet the right people. Let them have a good parents, including me, good children, good spouse, good friend, and let them meet Jesus. So let them receive a good influence from good people in their life, especially from you. Because I know that we are heavily influenced by people around us. So my prayer request for my children, let them meet the right people who can give them good influence in their life. That's the first prayer request. And my second prayer request, don't let bad accident, bad disease harm them, attack them. God, protect my children from bad accident and bad disease. That's been my prayer request every day for my children ever since they were born. And when I heard the phone call from school that, oh, your son got hit the rock column and then he now in trouble, I felt like, man, recently I've been praying for the no bad thing happened in my life. I forgot that. So I was feeling guilty like, oh, I should have prayed this morning. So anyway, I was driving and I went to the school office and they were just sitting, doing this, looking at the phone, and what happened? And then they said, he hit the locker room, and there's a bump. Where? I couldn't find it. I couldn't feel it. Maybe this small bump on his head. I mean, have you ever got any big bump or accident? When I was young, I was running as fast as I can, looking at friends' side, and there was a wall in front of me, the hard rock wall, and I hit it as hard as I can. It was actually a suicide movement. I had this big, I remember egg-sized bump on my head, and because of that, I lost all my memory at 5 years younger. I don't remember anything. So my memory is gone like when I was 5 years. But anyway, I got a big accident, like a bump like that, and when I heard that Jay-Z got a locker room bump, that I expected something like this. Man, this was really small. Even I couldn't touch it. I couldn't find it. I mean, if it were Korea, they wouldn't miss the school because of that. I mean, even they wouldn't report to the teacher for that kind of a small thing. And now I say, oh, good country, liability, concussion. They take care of kids so much. I mean, those are things that happen to kids, right? It was not big. Maybe God protected him from bad accident. It was just end up very small. But not always like that. You remember that my son Justin got one time very bad accident, actually in church, right after move here, 1 year after he moved. Right before Sunday worship, 12:15 a.m. He was walking on that aisle, have a ballpoint pen in his mouth, and he fell right before Michelle, and ballpoint pen went through his nose this much, his throat. You know that. You remember that? It was all blood. It was 15 minutes before worship. I had no idea how the Sunday worship that day. I mean, those things happen. Right? And doctor said it could be very dangerous. Bad thing happened to Christians, and sometimes we don't know why. So, life of Hezekiah, the most righteous king of Israel, that maybe because of his influence, because of him, country should have been protected, but still, country was conquered by the Assyria, except the one city. Bad thing happened to this righteous king Hezekiah's life. And you know worst part? Even if a bad thing happened in our life, maybe we are mature Christian. We know that it's unavoidable. Bad thing will happen to both of a Christian or not. We know that. But what we want is we have a good response. Those things happen. People who don't have a faith, who don't believe in God, they are panicked, they do all wrong movement, but we keep calm and then we trust God. God, even if this bad thing happened in my life, I trust you. We wish that we could be like people like that. But even Hezekiah, look at what Hezekiah did. He surrendered, actually. Surprisingly, Hezekiah, king of Judah, sent it to the king of Assyria and Lachish, saying, I've done wrong. I'm sorry. Withdraw from me. Whatever you impose on me, I'll bear. I mean, the righteous king. Nobody like before him, nobody like after him. But how could even that moment, even if the whole country conquered, even if only one city remained, I'll still be careful, keep faithful. I know that even now God will protect us and my people. That should have been the attitude of the righteous king, but he surrendered. And he went through shame. You know, the king of Assyria required a lot of amount of money, the silver and gold. This righteous king, who's loyal to God, he had to strip the gold from the doors of the temple of the Lord, from the doorpost of the temple. I mean, what shameful thing! To strip the gold from the doorpost of the Jerusalem temple, he had to give it to this Assyrian king. So he went through this hardship, and we don't see any faithful performance here. He was just like an evil king who was in trouble, desperate. Just they gave the money to the other people. He was like that, right? And actually, it didn't work because the king of Assyria so evil. After he imposed this much money, he was not satisfied. He continued march to Jerusalem and he surrounded them and he asked, "Give up your city. I will maybe kill everybody." That was like that. So king of Assyria sent a great army and in Jerusalem. So whatever he did, even if that political move and is a worldly measure did not work, spiritual measure did not work, nothing's worked for him, right? So at that kind of moment, because nothing he could do more. I mean, again, if we are sick, we go to Western doctor, Eastern doctor, we do what people recommend, we do everything. After we have done everything, because there's nothing more left we can do, sometimes we go for God at last. That's happened to Hezekiah. At last, he went to God fully. So he gave a prayer. But when he went to God, actually, king of Assyria claimed like this: "Isn't there any God who protected their people from my hands?" About that time, every country was believing each country has their guardian God. Each country has their own God, right? But what king of Assyria claimed is, even gods, no God could protect me, their country, from my hands. I'm the strongest one. My God is strongest. That's what king of Assyria claimed. And Hezekiah at last realized, actually other countries, they were conquered because their God was not real, and my God is only real God. This is a new understanding. Again, at that time, they believe my God might be the best, but still there is other country, their own God. That's how people, common sense at that time. But Hezekiah gave a prayer to God: "O Lord, the God of Israel, who is enthroned above cherubim, you are the God, you alone." It never confessed like this, but you alone, O God. Look at the Assyrian king. The Assyrian king laid waste the nations and their land, and they cast their gods into the fire, for they were not gods, but work of man's hand, wood and stone. At last Hezekiah realized all other gods, they were conquered because they were not real God. They were humans' hands made. They were wood and stone. But my God is real God, so you still should be able to protect this city from the king of Assyria. So it's a good prayer. And the new understanding of God come at the critical moment of our life when there's no more salvation, no more hope. Actually, we have a deeper understanding. What's going on here? Who's our God? And we have a new understanding, and Hezekiah's new understanding come up here. So there was a great story how it ended up, and because of his prayer, now one of the greatest prophet of Israel, the older prophetic book, the first prophetic book in the prophetic literature, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Isaiah, the thickest book of all the prophet, that Isaiah was at that time in Judah. So it's like a fantastic dream team. The most righteous king, the greatest prophet, two of them combination could protect the country from this expansion of Assyria. So Isaiah gave this word: God holds your prayer, and God will respond to you. That night, the angel of the Lord went out and struck down 185,000. I never seen this number. I mean, there's many words. Sometimes God or Israel's side, we heard that God killed the enemy of Israel, like 20,000, 30,000, 60,000. The number never went up, 100,000, 185,000. That means like an entire army of the empire, God wiped them out in one night, the angel of God. What a victory, what a great story. Right? So when Hezekiah found God at last, God responded to him so great. And there's one more story right after that, as we already shared. Hezekiah was just sick, and then he prayed, and when Isaiah said, Hezekiah, your lifespan is over, time to go back to God, be ready. But Hezekiah prayed, now, O Lord, please remember how I have walked before you in faithfulness and with the whole heart, and have done what is good in your sight. Every day, every decision you make your all effort to be faithful before God. A lot of times there's no big difference in your life, but it is for that moment. Can you pray like him? Right? At the critical moment of your life, can you come before God? God, remember how I have served you. I have worshipped you. How I put you at the center of my life and lived like that. Remember me and help me. And with this, his whole life of faithfulness, God responded to him and expanded the 15 years of lifespan. And even that time, there was the universal miracle. The sun clock, the shadow went down 3 hours back. You all remember that Joshua, that God stopped the sun in the middle of the day for 6 hours? Now this time that God moved the sun back 3 hours, it's like totally miracle. It happened as a sign of this, the lifespan extension. So that was a wonderful story. But that's not over. That's the problem. That's the problem. It is not. Up to here, I wish the story is over there. But something happened. After Hezekiah was healed, now the Babylon, you remember that, which will conquer the Israel later, southern Judah later. They're still small empire. They are rising star. Now the big Assyria. But when Babylon king heard Hezekiah successfully protected the country from the big empire Assyria, and Hezekiah was miraculously healed, Babylon king sent the messenger, which were actually spy, to check up the Hezekiah. And Hezekiah was so proud and so happy for all the achievement he made, the successful defense of the country, and then this lifespan expansion. So he showed all the treasure in his kingdom, and there was a big mistake. So God sent to Isaiah and told Hezekiah that you should never done that. The day will come, and all the things that you have shown to these Babylons, that they shall be carried to the Babylon. They will come to conquer you. That's the historical event, the fall of Jerusalem, BC 586. The prophet Isaiah gave the prophecy to Hezekiah because Hezekiah made this big mistake. And the thing which made me really surprised is Hezekiah's response for this. How Hezekiah responded it? So it says in the future that it will be all carried. If you see the 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 19, then Hezekiah said to Isaiah, it's good. The word of the Lord that you have spoken is good. But he thought, why not? If there will be peace and security in my days. I mean, the righteous king, the most righteous king, nobody like him, nobody before him, when he heard, because of what he did, the dark future will impose to your descendant, how should I have been responded? God, I'm so sorry. This should not happen that way, that I repent for what I have done. Please protect, save my descendant. I mean, we talk about David, right? He carried all his burden, what he had done, so he did not send any dark, negative thing to his descendant except only blessing. But this righteous king Hezekiah, good. All the things that will happen in the future, not in my generation, I'm good with that. Wow. So I'm asking this. Do you think the Bible description of Hezekiah, he was the righteous king, there was no one like before him, no one like after him, is it fair evaluation? Already he gave up faith once. He surrendered the evil king. He did not keep the faith. He went through shame, and even when bad thing happened about the future, he tried not to be responsible. Is the shape of the most righteous king of Israel? Is Bible fairly estimate who he was? That's a big question. If Hezekiah was the most righteous king, maybe one of the most righteous king in the history of Israel and southern Judah, do you know who was the most evil king in history of Judah, Israel? There are many evil kings, but one of them was Ahab, the arch enemy of Elijah. Ahab's life, if you see Ahab's life, it's actually really similar with Hezekiah's life. There's one time, king of northern Israel was attacked by Syria, Aram, and then the whole city, the Samaria, was surrounded, and Ahab, the God miraculously protect the city. So Ahab was saved like a king. Hezekiah saved Jerusalem by hands of Assyria. There was a time King Ahab made a big mistake, the Naboth vineyard, and God told Ahab through Elijah, you are done. I will curse you, you will die. And you know how Ahab responded at that time? The most evil king of the history of Israel, Ahab heard those words that you will be done, that he tore his clothes, put sackcloth on his flesh, fasted, and lay in sackcloth and went about dejectedly. So God responded to Elijah, because he has humbled himself before me. I will not bring the disaster in his days, but his son's days I will bring the disaster upon his house. I mean, maybe when the doom, the prophecy come, King Ahab's response was even better than King Hezekiah's response. So we need to ask this. What is going on here? The life of the most evil king, life of the most righteous king, how come they look very similar? Both of them went to the big attack of the other country. Both of them could successfully defend their city, and both of them made a big mistake, and both of them went through something similar. That actually make our life a mystery. Why? Your life is not different from those who do not believe in God, those who are not loyal to God. Don't you wonder? I mean, God, haven't I showed this much service, this much loyalty, this much heart? How come my life is not different from? I mean, shouldn't people who are loyal to God be blessed more than people who don't? Is a Christian life shouldn't be better than non-Christian? That's the first question we have. And actually, that's many of us. We are mature Christian. We got it over. Maybe all those difficult things in our life, but God has a different plan. We're okay with that. But you know, most difficult part? How come I'm not better than them? That is a problem. Do you have people around you? Even if your life is difficult, all the bad things happen in your life, if you respond correctly, righteously, so at least oppression, the persecution come to my life, but I'm righteous. If we have a self-confidence of who we are, I think life will be bearable. I'm okay with all these difficult things because I am the right person, right? But the problem of our life, we often feel I'm not that different from the people that actually I don't like. There are some opportunists who only look for the circumstance, who become the winner's side. There's no dignity, no integrity. You know a lot of people like that around you, right? Those who feel people selfish, who only look for their own benefit. They are the wrong people in our neighborhood and among people we know. And we wish to say, I'm not like those people. I'm the right people. My heart is toward God. I'm honest and good person with integrity and dignity. That's what we want to say. But a lot of the time in our life, when we are in trouble, we make the wrong decision. We not always righteous, and we make a lot of mistakes. That is the most difficult part of our life. Why am I not different? I wish I'm better. I wish I'm good. Why I'm not good? Right? It's like Ahab or Hezekiah. Ahab was the most evil king, but still there's something good in Ahab's life. If Hezekiah could see Ahab, same generation, wow, at least he humbled himself with the sackcloth. I just thought I'm okay before this mistake. Who am I? Maybe Hezekiah would have a lot of self-appointment. That is our problem. It's not like not only our life is better than others, but also we are not better than others. That make us lose our confidence, and that make us unhappy, and our life is difficult. But I want to just share this, how the Bible report about them. Okay? That is what we want to know. We have seen their life story, we have seen how they responded, but how does Bible remember them? 1 Kings chapter 16:30 about Ahab. Ahab, the son of Omri, did evil in the sight of the Lord more than all who were before him. So Ahab's title is this: he was evil than anybody before him. And there was nobody like him that sold himself to what was evil in the sight of the Lord before God. Like Ahab. Maybe Ahab could say, no, this evaluation, I don't like it. My life was not like that. There was a time that I actually practiced some humble attitude. And God said, no, I don't count it. You are wrong. That's Ahab's life. And Hezekiah, what was the response? What was the description, the definition of Hezekiah again? He trusted in the Lord, the God of Israel, and there was none like him among all the kings of Judah after him or before. He was the best. Maybe some people say, come on, Hezekiah made a mistake. He surrendered, and he could not respond on his mistake. What was going on? Doesn't matter what happened, what the performance you did. The important thing, who you are, what your life is, it's God's decision. That's what we believe, right? When God said, let there be light, there was light. When God says, you are righteous, whatever happened in your life, whatever you have done, you are righteous. If God says, you are evil, yeah, you are evil. That's the God we believe. God is the decision maker, the scoreboard, the credit of our life. It's a God's decision. Isn't that good news? It's not depending on your performance. so many mistakes, and then all the things you have done, that doesn't define who you are. What defines you is what God tell you about it. It's not like, I'm not saying God arbitrarily, whatever David done, God say you good, you bad. It's not like that. God's so sharp. One thing, Hezekiah's heart. He wanted to be faithful, but he failed many times. Isn't it like us? We won't be faithful. We won't be good. We want to serve the Lord with all our heart. But what's the problem? We not live like that. Our life is not like that. We keep making mistakes. We keep doing a lot of wrong things. When you said something, we're like, how could I say such a thing? When you judge others in our life, how could I do like that? I'm not better than others. That kinds of voice keep coming to us. But in your book of life, when you go to heaven, God says, you're righteous. God, but whatever, all the things I've done, doesn't matter. I say you're righteous. Then you're righteous. Because God sees heart. A lot of good thing happen, bad thing happen. Good thing Ahab did, and bad thing Ahab did. And good thing happened, and bad thing happened. Hezekiah stopped, and Hezekiah also did the good thing, right thing. But two of them, only difference what God says, not what happened or what they did, is what their heart was. And Hezekiah was faithful. God said, you are the righteous one. And Ahab, even if they had the right movement, God said, you're wrong. So don't be frustrated by the people around you, who they are, how they live. They will go their path. But you are before God. And remember, just see, I know that we go through 1,000 miles of mistakes and fault and then disappointment and frustration. It's okay. These are all our path of life journey. But as long as your heart faithful to God, who you are, what kinds of life you have lived, it's not what these people will decide, what these people will remember. God will say in your book of life, he was righteous. He was my man. And that become who we are. Let's pray.